Waajeed, and I'm sure that you all know who he is. Yeah. He's getting a lot of love around the world at the moment, and he's travelling the world as well off the back of his project, Platinum Pied Pipers, and he's been working for the last 10 years and all kinds of underground music. We're very lucky to have him here today. So yeah, cheers for coming by.
No problem. Wow, this is technology. It's pretty good.
And thank you for last night's set as well. That was very enjoyable.
Yo, I had fun, man. How many of y'all came out? Did anybody come out? It was good.
Thank you.
My man Leon, before we do anything, I want to show some respect for my man Leon. We're in the back. My fellow Detroiter. Respect, brother. Yo, without Leon, I wouldn't be here where I'm at right now, so I need to say that first and foremost.
Well, that's sort of how I want to start, and that is history, really. And I mean, every place around the world has its own flavour in music, and has its own thing happening.
Yeah.
But in the case of Detroit, it goes a lot further than that. It's actually a sound that's people are feeling it everywhere in the world, and it's influenced,
Yeah.
It's influenced a lot of scenes around the world. It's something, a little bit special, and I'm just wondering if, being from Detroit, you're just too close to the source to realize that, or do you feel that yourself, or?
I think being from Detroit, it's like, as opposed to being outside of the fishbowl looking at the fish, a lot of times we're the fish looking outside.
Yeah.
So, to some respect, I think that keeps us kind of pure and kind of honest, and like, for the most part, I said it for the most part, musical integrity is first, and yeah, it's definitely a huge blessing for me to be from the D. I mean, it's everything that
so
I am.
you're feeling that history there. I mean, living there, that's something that you are experiencing, all the time. From childhood, onwards.
Always find that in a lot of ways we're always trying to, even subconsciously, we're trying to relive that history of the Motown era and all that stuff and everything that really went off really well in Detroit, and then essentially just kind of overnight just left us.
Yeah.
So I think in a lot of ways that we're always working to make that happen again.
Yeah. So it seems like when Motown did blow up, I mean, they were drawing on the talent that was there in abundance.
Without a doubt.
And the thing is that it's still there in abundance, and it seems that the music that comes out of there is in a tradition. It doesn't matter if it's techno or if it's, more of your, soul or hip hop. It's actually drawing on a long tradition, and there's a continuity there. That's how it looks to me. I don't know.
Definitely, I think that's part of it, and then. Like, just being from the Midwest in general, I'm sure you know about that. There's a certain kind of working class mentality that comes with everything that we do. Whether we decide to be tap dancers, you know what I'm saying? Like, we work from 9 to 5, like, continuously hardcore to be the best tap dancer. You know what I'm saying? In the same way that, my parents worked in the plants. They worked from 9 to 5. Almost like a machine. So a lot of times where you kind of hear this music that kind of reflects that machine type of thing, I think in a lot of ways that's just who we are, or who we've become.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is interesting, that clock punching or something, that's that hypnotic kind of activity can come through in the music just through that being the dominant experience, in the society. I mean,
I think guys like Derek May or Juan Atkins and all those dudes, they really took note to that kind of like pulsating rhythm, and in turn, their music reflected it, And in the case of hip hop, with cats like Dilla or myself or Dwelle, you know what I'm saying? Like, we call it like a Detroit hump, you know what I'm saying? That kind of has that a pulsating rhythm.
Detroit hump. Everybody.
I'm going to copyright that word.
Yeah, that's a good thing to know. But so I suppose I should just go back a little bit and I would, just really personally anyway, like to know just how, when you were growing up, how you kind of first, what you can tell us maybe about an early experience with music, or something that maybe, if you knew more then, you could have guessed that you might be involved in music one day yourself. There was something that turned you on to music.
Some of my earliest memories of music would be my dad playing music late at night. I know this is what I'm saying, like he's going to be able to read this, but he doesn't really know.
So you could hear that through the walls.
I mean, he used to, like he used to smoke the substance. Ooh, Dad's going to be mad. But, it used to be like late at night, and I remember myself being around, I had to be about 8 or 9, and our den was right next to my bedroom.
Yeah.
And I used to hear like music, so I used to get up, and I used to see like the smoke around, and he had like the stereo system was like an illuminating blue light, and I could see like his silhouette in the smoke, and hear like all these like crazy sounds. Like he used to listen to Coltrane, he used to listen to Kraftwerk, he used to listen to Roger and Zapp and Parliament, with all those crazy ass voices. I didn't know what the hell that shit was. And little did I know I was getting a secondhand high from the incense. But you know what I'm saying? I could just remember like hours just like sitting there like watching him enjoying this music that I had no clue like what the hell it was, or what they were talking about, or why they had these crazy ass voices in it, or what I'm saying? So it's those were my earliest memories of music. And just now as an adult, what I'm saying, I'm coming to understand like, do my best to understand.
That your dad was on.
That my dad was
real hip shit there.
That my dad was smoking marijuana.
Yeah, we can't confirm or deny that. So mate, so he was into Kraftwerk. Well, that's cool, man. And,
yeah, it's crazy.
Coltrane, of course, obviously is the coolest. But
I remember like the Kraftwerk 45 being at my house. He used to listen to B-52s a lot too.
Yeah, man.
I know about B-52s.
Well, that would be, you're well versed in all kinds of music.
I didn't know. Until I never really had a clue until I started back to DJing, because I started as a DJ when I was about 14, just by inheriting my dad's record collection. And then, just over the last 5 years, like immersing myself back inside of the DJ culture. And, like you would do a party and, hip-hop cats play hip-hop music all night. Or house cats play house music all night. And here I am, I want to play all of it, what I'm saying? So they looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
So
and in my head,
that mashup style, I mean, that's
in
not
my
something...
head, it's all the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's either good or bad, And so here lies my battle with music today.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, I think that's something that when I was looking back at some interviews that you've done, and it's like, you do get a little bit impatient if people try to label the music that you'd make now or music full stop, it's like it's...
Lord have mercy. It's really a pain in the ass, you know what I'm saying? I make it my job to make music and never, be in judgment of it. And more importantly, you know what I'm saying, like to make music and to never really label it, you know what I'm saying? You don't go to the museum and you see a Van Gogh piece, you know what I'm saying, and then right next to it is Van Gogh describing exactly what the piece was. So you don't see, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's stupid, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of removes people have to, you know what I'm saying, like apply their own life stories on your music or what it may mean for them. And I think that enough artists, just kind of dumb it up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, after you see a great film, you don't see at the end of it, well, it explains every line of the story, like everything that happened. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think that's silly. Yeah. So for me, with that in mind, I just make sure that I never really try to label what I do or like put this definition on it, because I want people to apply their own definitions of it, of what they're, you know, what they get from it.
And I suppose when you're working in the studio as well, it's like your influences or what music you've heard in the past is working subconsciously anyway on your finished product, right? So you're not making something for a market. It's not commercial music as such, you know. So it's not. That's a different process again.
It's all a big mashup in my head, you know. And in my head, you know what I'm saying, it all either is directly or indirectly like soul music, you know, because it touches people's souls, you know. So it doesn't have to have a Rhodes or Walser, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying, in order for it to be soul music, you know what I'm saying? It could be techno, you know what I'm saying? Some of the stuff my man was playing earlier today was nuts, and it's soulful, you know, so, you know, but, you know, I could go on and on about these press bastards. Man, I learned a lot about press, man.
Please do, please do.
I learned a lot about press, man. Like people, unless there's any press people here, hi. But yo, in general, like, you know what I'm saying, like they come and they sit down with you to create a story. You know what I'm saying? So whether that be they talk to me about Batin being homeless or crazy, or JD or Sarah or whoever, you know what I'm saying? Like they have in their head that they want a story. Mm-hmm. So I just try to, you know what I'm saying? I just try to duck and dodge. Yeah, well, I had to do the Matrix sometimes, and then backwards like that. Yeah. But they want to leave with a story, so I've learned just to kind of like less is more type of thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so making the music's one thing, but kind of taking it out into the marketplace and having to promote the music, it's a whole nother, yeah.
I was talking about that earlier, man. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think with today's climate and the way things are happening globally, we don't have any real leadership. And what's happening now is that because music is raising so many people's children, that musicians, that's everybody in here, we have to have a certain responsibility whether we want it or not, you know, and that we're kind of like torchbearers for our experience, you know what I'm saying, like whatever our experience would be, you know what I'm saying, whether our parents or our school experience, or whether you got shot 9 times or you hustle crack in the street, you know what I'm saying, like there's a certain amount of responsibility that we have because nobody else is stepping up to be leaders. I mean, look at Bush. He's a fucking jerk.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's not a leader for anybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's not a leader for anybody. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I would, you know, much rather look at 50 Cent. I mean, he's a lot more interesting, you know what I'm saying, than fucking Bush.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, street wisdom is better than no wisdom at all, right? So
that's real. That's real. So with this responsibility of like, you know what I'm saying, it's just not in the studio anymore, you know what I'm saying, where we punch out these beats, or, you know what I'm saying, like we're a recluse, and, you know what I'm saying, like we're forced to step out and have opinions and views, you know what I'm saying, like so many people, I don't know why so many people wild out about Kanye West saying like George Bush doesn't care about black people, you know what I'm saying, I mean.
I think it was because he didn't include all the other people who non-whites in America, maybe, in his statement.
Maybe that, but you know what I'm saying, like, but in general, like, we kind of need people like Kanye West to say stuff like that because nobody else is saying it. Like, we don't have leadership, the appropriate leadership that kind of gets out there and says those things that, you know what I'm saying, whether we all want to say them or we don't agree with them, you know what I'm saying, so, but there's definitely a huge responsibility that comes with just making music, you know what I'm saying? You have to, it's part of the job, you know what I'm saying? If you ask me, I mean, I wouldn't be shaking hands and kissing babies. I wouldn't do it, you know what I'm saying? I'd rather make some music, you know what I'm saying? Take it or leave it, you like it, you know what I'm saying? Great. If you don't, who gives a dog's ass? You know what I'm saying? That's my preference as an artist. But as an artist, you know what I'm saying, like, there's a responsibility that I have to get out and make change.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, your music is conveying a lot. And I'm just wondering, like, you know, you said you started, maybe came from a DJ point of view when you were young, 14.
Yeah.
Like, how did it go? So you were performing at that age, or were you just collecting and getting yourself together? And when did you start performing, or did you, you know, at a young age? Or?
I need to say why I decided to become a DJ first.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
In my neighborhood in Detroit, the east side of Detroit, I'm sure Leon knows what I'm talking about, the east side of Detroit. Dangerous, dumb dangerous, crazy, wild. You know what I'm saying? This is like, I'm a 70s kid, you know what I'm saying? And this was the time in the 80s, or, you know what I'm saying, the Reagan era, which I can go into another time. But, you know, like Reaganomics, and the streets was real, like shit was real in the street. And this was when kids was like shooting each other in the street, and the body would be laying out, and they'd take his sneakers off. You know what I'm saying? They would kill people just and shoot people for sneakers, and just crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? So the musicians always had a pass to kind of get through the hood. You know what I mean? So if you see a kid with a bunch of records, you ain't gonna rob him for a bunch of records. You don't care about no records. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to seeing a kid with some new top 10 Adidas on and robbing him for his sneakers. You know what I'm saying? So this was a part of the reason, like, I noticed, like, okay, these kids are getting robbed and these kids aren't getting robbed. Like, why is that, you know? And the musicians had a pass, whether you could sing, whether you could rap, whether you could dance, you know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of gave you your pass to get through the hood. So, you know what I'm saying? That was part of the reason why I decided to start DJing. Just so I could get through the hood freely, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I could have my little starter coat on, or my little Adidas, you know what I'm saying? And have a couple records in my hand, and they wouldn't mess with me, you know what I'm saying? Or I wouldn't get, you know what I'm saying, beat up and dragged into an abandoned house for my jacket, you know what I'm saying? So this is part of the reason. And I just happened to hook up with a bunch of other weirdo kids in the neighborhood that did the same thing, you know what I'm saying, or kind of like slid through the cracks in the hood. Like, right now, those guys are known as Slum Village.
Yeah, right.
So that's why I started to DJ at about 14, because this is about the time, this is about 84. Leon, no, man, this is the time that crack hit the streets, and it was wild. It was wild, man. It was wild.
Yeah, this is something, I mean, even though I've heard, I heard stories like this, you know, I mean, it's something that I don't think I can really comprehend, actually. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, I have been to Detroit, and I checked out, you know, the downtown, which is now going under a bit of a renaissance, you know, it's all coming back.
Without a doubt.
But it's still, you know, there's still not many people around the streets, and it's still got a lot of deserted buildings, and,
yeah,
man, that sounds like a very tough environment, all right. And I mean, yeah, even if you hear stories about it, I don't think we can really understand unless you actually were there. But I kind of call Detroit like the beautiful ugly, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? There's a beauty in its darkness. There's a beauty in the fact that it is a violent city. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just a micro to macro. The way I feel. So the culture, it has a positive effect on the people in some ways.
Absolutely, man. In the same way that, you know what I'm saying, like hip hop was created in New York, you know what I'm saying, from dire circumstances. You know what I'm saying? I think these dire circumstances create something in people that make them look inward and pull something out that may not have come out otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Like, a girl could be having an argument with her boyfriend, you know what I mean, and be pissed and go get on the keyboard and make something bananas, you know what I mean? So I just think that there's something in people that makes people go and just, you know what I'm saying, like punch those frustrations out, whether it be on a keyboard or on people.
Man, so that's something though that seems to be the case, that I mean, yeah, a tough environment can result in some amazing culture. And it does seem like people from your part of the world are very proud of that as well. And that seems to be another positive factor. There's an identity, a strong identity that's always coming through.
Yeah.
But kind of just wondering, so as you kind of got older through the school years and so forth, I mean, when did you start thinking about production and I mean, yeah, was that just through hooking up with your mates?
I think production and music making was probably the last thing I ever thought about, realistically. As a DJ, I was just such a fan for the music. You know, I just wanted the record. I just wanted the vinyl. I wanted to listen to it. I wanted to flip the cover back and forth. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to read the credits. I wanted to know who was in those credits. I was just, you know what I'm saying, like just a fan for the music. Not actually really thinking about the process and what it takes, you know what I'm saying, to create that music, but as a DJ, you know what I'm saying, you just love the record, you know what I'm saying, you just into the record. And that definitely started to change, you know what I'm saying, when I spent more time with Dilla, JD.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a group that I've heard about called the Breakfast Club, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't actually know the details on that, but could you maybe fill us in a little bit?
That was Dwelle and like a couple of his homeboys.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they were on the opposing side of town, which is the west side of Detroit.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying, whenever we hear their music, we just be like,
nah.
You know what I'm saying, them turkeys, man, they ain't got no shit, this shit is whack.
Yeah.
Knowing it was fresh, you know what I mean, but we just front, like, man, get that garbage out, that's some garbage, you know what I'm saying, but, you know, as we all kind of, you know what I'm saying, saw that, you know what I'm saying, like, we all one family, you know what I'm saying, so it just kind of worked itself out.
Some friendly rivalry there.
I mean, I think it's always a rivalry, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure that in these studios, y'all just been here 2 days, you know what I mean? Y'all just been here a couple days, it's about to get real. You know what I'm saying? The competitive nature of people gonna start coming out, but it's a good thing, man. It's all in the spirit of, like, you know what I'm saying, like, as long as your intent is well, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, hopefully nobody's hoping that somebody spills a Red Bull in a keyboard and the whole keyboard blow up and no shit like that. You know what I mean? But as long as the intent is good, you know what I'm saying, like, it's a good look for music as a whole. Everybody benefits from good music because it raises the bar, and then if the bar is raised, you know what I'm saying, like, everybody's bringing the bar higher up, you know. I think that's reflected in more underground stuff than it is in more commercial stuff these days. But
so your sharing is but competitive at the same time, and the MPC is perfect for that, right? Because you can make something on the MPC and walk away, and then someone comes in when you're not in the room, changes it. Does that kind of stuff happen? I don't know. Does that work? Does that how it works in your studio? Or?
Yeah, that's happened to me, and it turned out to be somebody single, and I didn't get credit for it. But I won't talk about that.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that's just all part of it, isn't it? The creative cycles.
It is.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, okay. So DJing and working behind the scenes in production was sort of how you. Well, that was the next step, production after DJing, and it's. I just. Actually, another question I want to ask about the Cafe Mahogany as well. Is that something that was important? The Cafe Mahogany, is that?
Yeah, it was important for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
This is about the time after Love Jones that came out. Y'all remember that corny ass movie, right? Corny ass Love Jones. Hope I can use profanity in these.
But there's just something, because the only reason
all right, but yo,
I mention it is
I'll just keep it real.
Is this because there's humour, you know, because there's something about a spoken word poetry thing, and there's a lot of humour in there, and it's about entertaining the crowd as much as anything, and it's about cheeky jokes, a lot of it. And then there's something
and
like...
getting girls, because that was another level of importance for, like, all my homeboys. They would go there and they would write these little corny-ass poems and then just try to get girls. You know what I'm saying? Okay. No real intent towards, you know what I'm saying, in poetry. Like, it's real.
But humour, there's got to be some humour in there.
This is an art form, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just use this to try to get girls. But,
okay.
So, yeah, that's the relevance of Cafe Mahogany.
It's just like looking, you know, you got your label Bling 47, and there must be some humour in that name.
It's definitely some.
And then there's Platinum Pied Pipers, there's some humour in that name.
Yeah.
And then listening to the album, that's the thing that shines through, is that, you know, it is a banging album. It's a club album, but it's hip hop. It seems to be, you know, there's humor in there too. You know, like the way that Lex is rapping, and you know, there's.
Yeah, that was terrible. He said that every remix of the Black Album was whack. I won't go into that, but just the sarcasm in general, man, for myself. I mean, because you'll notice that a lot of people in this industry, they just take themselves too serious. They just take this shit too serious. They sit, you know, they're in a club with a dark club with sunglasses on, just trying to look cool with a fur and a chain. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've seen too much of that in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just totally irritated by it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you know what I'm saying? Detroit is probably one of the most honest working class cities, you know what I'm saying, in the Midwest, next to St. Louis. But it's an honest working class city, you know what I'm saying? And when people come like that, when out-of-towners come into our city like that, they just gonna get robbed. Period. You know what I'm saying? They just gonna get robbed. You know what I'm saying? And they setting themselves up to be robbed like that. You know what I mean? So, you know, so when I see that, you know what I'm saying, I just think like, this is some fucking buffoonery going on. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's nothing wrong with sunglasses. I got some right here. And there's nothing wrong with, you know what I'm saying? But there's a certain point where you just get to where it's just like man, that's not cool, B. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is whack. And with that in mind, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't take a lot of this as serious as other cats. The business end of it. The music I take as serious as my life. The opportunities I take as serious as my life. But, you know what I'm saying, as far as like the fronting and the posting and all that, you know what I'm saying, like, I really just don't fuck with that, man. I steer clear of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I see cats acting like that, I go the other direction. Like, I don't want no part of that, man.
And for the reason that it's restrictive to creativity as well.
Yeah, man, I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's when you're dealing with sales, not integrity. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to make sure that at the end of the day, that, you know what I'm saying, I can look myself in the mirror and have some respect for what I've done and what I've created, you know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying, know that my records ain't contributing to the genocide of my people or people, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, just in general, like, you know what I'm saying, like, I steer so clear away from it that when I name my groups or I name my label, my sarcasm for that type of energy, you know what I'm saying, it's just kind of like playing it, like Bling 47. It's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got no damn diamonds on. You know what I'm saying? I probably won't be rocking no diamonds, you know what I mean? Probably. But in general, you know what I'm saying, like Platinum Pied Pipers, you know what I'm saying? It was like us clowning ourselves, like what are cats gonna be wearing after platinum? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's name ourselves the Platinum Pied Pipers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's mocking like a lot of the stuff that's kind of happening with, in my opinion, like mainstream records. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is some, it's buffoonery.
But are you finding, though, that that's this kind of trying to, well, and succeeding in staying clear of kind of cliches of mainstream music, but you're kind of taking an alternate route because, you know, your music is still, you know, it's still getting a lot of recognition and it's going, you know, is it going further than you thought it will go? Or did you have a good feeling for it? You had the support already? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going a lot further than I imagined. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people weren't raised the way I was raised in regards to like this wide array of musical choices. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the reason that I had reservations for doing this last Platinum Pied Pipers album, Triple P, the way that I did. I had reservations on doing it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, initially, I thought like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Because in order to be in the game, you have to play the game on your own terms. You know what I'm saying? Like, doing what I'm doing is almost kind of walking a fine line. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like being Robin Hood to some extent. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know what I'm saying, I produce a track for an artist that's a big name, you know what I'm saying, and go into Sony Music and get this huge check, and then take all that money and make underground records and put underground records out, the stuff that helped me get to where I'm at now, you know what I mean? So it's almost like walking a fine line, you know what I'm saying, where I might put some funny ass name on it, like, I ain't gonna say no names because y'all might go and research the records. But yeah, creating like these aliases and putting these records out, and then, you know what I'm saying, like, nobody knows I even made that record, you know? So when I'm in a club or I go to a Kanye West listening party, you know what I'm saying, all them dudes be looking at me like, man, corny ass nigga, man. Motherfucking underground records, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking like, B, I made some records that you love. You don't even know. But that's the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like having a secret and nobody else knows. It's like going to the club and having a pistol in your jacket. And you ain't wilding out, but you just know if anything just get crazy, you could just get out of that joint if you needed to. That's a bad analogy. That's terrible.
That's terrible.
But that's the idea, you know what I'm saying? Or like being a kung fu master or something.
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
That's better, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just know that if anybody come up with some stuff, you could just chop them down. You know what I mean? So that's part of the power of silence. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? It's still walking. It's like I said. It's a fine line.
So it's just being a little bit invisible at times, and
man, I think that's the best way, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Being invisible is like being a photographer in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get the best shots if nobody even knows that you're there. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're in a room and you're quiet and don't nobody know you're there, you can just stay there and just suck up so much information. You know what I'm saying? And nobody even knows that you was there to get the information. So there's certainly a beauty in being quiet, you know what I'm saying, and just laying low and just being patient, you know what I'm saying. I've been patient for a long time.
that's what I'm thinking. Like last 10 years or so, how long you been producing now?
Realistically, I haven't been producing that long.
No.
Yeah.
You started experimenting though.
I started experimenting when I was about 17, and then I got into the arts. I won a full scholarship to go to college, oddly enough, to design cars.
Hey.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to be an automotive engineer. Like, I was going to be the guy designing the next Ford car. Can you imagine me doing that, talking this shit in a board meeting? But I was supposed to go to school. I did go to school on this full scholarship to design cars, and I was being looked at by GM and Ford and all these guys, and they were setting me up to be this great car designer and all this stuff. And my homeboys had just struck a record deal, and they was like, "Yo, B, we getting ready to go to Europe, man. So you gonna stay in school, or you gonna roll with us to Europe?" What was I supposed to do? It was just like, peace. I left school, man. I was out. My parents was looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they're going to set you up. I mean, you know, you're going to have a good career. You know what I'm saying? Like, after you get out of school, being an automotive designer, et cetera. And, I don't know, man. I just went with my heart. And I left school, traveled with Slum Village for about 3 years on and off. And, it was kind of, you know, it was just, I just remember that we were in Europe one time and we were running to get on the train, and it's just a big glow of light, you know what I'm saying, it happened. It was just like, yo, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, this is your future, this is your destiny. And I was just like, man, I don't really want this, but here I am.
So you could see the hard work ahead. And
I didn't know. I didn't know it was this much hard work. I didn't know. I think for a large part, this is part of just being independent and, you know, putting out the type of records that you want to put out, and, you know, having to, I don't know, just kind of like support yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not an easy task. A lot of people think they can just create a label, and yeah, you know, how many people don't have labels these days, realistically? But how many people are active in those labels and being effective as far as the global community of music. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a cakewalk at all. At all.
No, that's
Are we getting off the subject, man?
No,
I'm sorry, man. I'm all over the place.
No, that's all good. That's all good. I'm just, so you went to Europe for 3 years, or on and off. You went traveling for a long time with the Slum Village.
Yeah. We traveled with Tribe. We traveled with a bunch of people, and I just got an insider scoop of how the business works. You know, and a lot of friends that I made were based on like, yeah, okay, it's cool to hang out with you, not I'm a musician, and or a producer or beat maker or whatever. And
so how would you describe your role in those 3 years in that traveling circus?
You shouldn't do that, man.
Sorry, bro.
Okay. My role, I was the guy that got the girls. Okay. I'm just lay it out. We intimate, we personal, we friends. I was the guy that got the girls. You know what I'm saying? While they would be working hard on stage, I'd be the guy that walked up and says, yeah, you know, so-and-so really would like to meet you, and we're having a party at the hotel, and blah, 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 get it, bada bing, bam. That was my job. I'm not saying I was the most effective at it. I didn't say I was the greatest guy for the job a lot of times, but yeah, that was my job.
Just chemistry was your job, yeah.
Shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah, man. All right.
So, I'm sorry.
No.
So, after being on the road and getting back and being around music in this way, you know, going to the studio, hanging out and all that stuff, I really just kind of had an insider's perspective of what it was about, just like the long hours and how much you have to really, really put into it in order for 1% of the population in the world to even care. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it really all kind of started, and that was about 99. So my dad always told me that if you want to be good at anything, if you want to be great at anything, lock yourself in a room and do that one thing for a year. And that's what I did. I took my MPC and all these records that I had collected, you know what I'm saying, over all these years, and I knew where every break was because I was a DJ, and I knew what, you know, like, oh yeah, Paul McCartney, or, you know what I'm saying, like Beatles, or, you know what I'm saying, like I knew records like the back of my hand. And I locked myself in my apartment for a year, you know, a year. It started as kind of as a dare. Like Dilla had this beat machine, JD had this beat machine. I'm gonna say JD because a lot of y'all don't know JD. But JD had this beat machine laying in his basement, and Questlove from the Roots had broken the beat machine. I think he had got some disc tangled up in there somehow, I don't know. But yo, it started as a dare. He's like, yo, man, if you can get that disc out of there, you can take this machine home and use it. So I took it as a challenge. Like, okay, all right, great, I can get some metals, get this out of here. Took the disc out, and he's like, all right, bet, take it home. So I took it home for a weekend, and no manual, no anything, just based on like, okay, I'm gonna make this thing work. And I made like about 4 tracks, and I called Dilla and JD. I left them on his voicemail, like, okay, check it out. This is what I did. You know what I'm saying? I know it's probably kind of whack, but yo, just check it. So played him on his answer machine, and he called me back, and like immediately, it's like, what was that? I was like, yo, that's some of the stuff I was just messing around with. He's like, whoa, that's pretty good, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, play that one again. I was just like thinking like, I might have something here. Let me reevaluate this. So after that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I had, you know, like the encouragement from my crew, like, yo, man, you could really do some things with this. I locked myself in my apartment for a year. Now I'm telling y'all, man, I had the damn Willie lumberjack beard. I mean, it was wild. You know what I'm saying? So I locked myself in my apartment for a year, chopping up records every day. You know, my schedule would be like getting up late afternoon, because I would always be up late in the night, so late that it was morning. And I had this thing with myself, and I would say, like, yo, all right, you knock out 2 beats, and you can get a glass of water. For real. And you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, damn, man, this is like this. I had this military voice in my head. It's like, knock out 2 beats, and you can get a glass of water. So I'd be thirsty, man, just thinking like, damn, man, I gotta knock out these beats fast. So I'll knock out 2 tracks, and then before I would get up, the voice would say, make another one, and then you can get a glass of water. So
the voices of dehydration.
Make another beat, you know what I'm saying? Now I'll go get this glass of water and just be like, wow, this water's really great. And then the voice would say like, yo, make 3 more, man. And then you can get another glass of water. Or you can go, and it just got so ridiculous where it was just like, okay, if I had to use the restroom, for real, the voice would say, yo, make 3 beats and then you can go to the restroom. And I'd be like this.
So that you made some uptight beats there.
Crazy, man. It's crazy. This little voice in my head, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, man, before you can use the restroom, we gotta make 3 joints. Now I go make 3 joints, and then don't even talk about eating. That's why I'm so damn skinny. You know what I'm saying? Because this voice would tell me, like, yo, before you can get some food, you gotta do 4 joints. Or at least chop some drums up, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case is. And I lived that way for a year, with just volumes and volumes and volumes of tracks. You know what I'm saying?
And do you still draw on that material to this day, or no? That was just the
I was so pure then, man. Like I still revel in those moments. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just me and those records. No phone, no politics, no magazine covers, no talking to my agent, no talking to my manager, no tour, none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So for a lot of y'all, man, these are the best moments. Enjoy them, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, revel in these moments, man, because this is when you're pure. You know what I'm saying? This is when you're going these moments are when you're going to determine your intent for the rest of your career. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you're going to do for the rest of your career, or how you're going to be for the rest of your career, and who you're going to be for the rest of your career. So, you know, so I hope a lot of y'all got that crazy-ass voice in your head telling you to make 9 tracks before the day's over. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, those moments, man, I still look back at them, and I wish to some degree, I wish I could be back in that place.
Yeah. So, I mean, since that time, I mean, you're still working in the studio a lot, and you got a lot of projects, I know, scheduled for the future too.
Yeah, I still got that crazy-ass voice in my head telling me, like, yo, you know, like, just the amount of things that I need to be doing, you know what I'm saying? Because I just started, so, like, you know, my first record came out in 2002, which wasn't that long ago, you know what I'm saying? It feels like yesterday, you know what I'm saying? And luckily, it was a major release, so it allowed me to kind of, like, do some ghost production and, like, kind of, like, live off that money and kind of do the bohemian thing that I'm doing now. And yeah, you know, it allowed me a lot of space to be more creative and for me to just basically just do what the hell I want to do, man.
But how's it changed now? I mean, from the days when you were just in your apartment with the MPC or whatever you were using, making your tunes, and now, like, you're in the studio, you're collaborating with a lot of different artists, so they must come around and work with you. And how's your process developed from that point? Like, is it still based around the MPC? And
for the most part, yeah, you know, but the process has changed a lot because there's just so many people involved, and there's so many people that rely on me now. You know what I'm saying? That, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely when it was just me. You know what I'm saying? Like, back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, but now, you know what I'm saying? Like, the responsibility level has tripled. You know, just responsibility to my artists, responsibility to my family, responsibility to my upbringing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could be in the club and I could hear a joint that I love and I want to wild out, but there's a camera there. So yo, I can't be wilding out. My family's looking at me, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm carrying this responsibility of a community of people on my back, you know what I'm saying? And more important than doing what I want to do sometimes, it's more important for me to reflect those people in a proper light, you know what I'm saying? And like to be like the person that's kind of carrying their cross, you know what I'm saying? Because I got hundreds of homeboys that made way better beats than I got right now, or made way better music, or made better decisions, or smarter people that are dead in the street now, you know what I'm saying, that have been shot and killed, you know what I'm saying, and they would want to be in this position, you know what I'm saying. They would be here if they hadn't been in those positions, you know what I'm saying. So with that responsibility, you know what I'm saying, like I definitely make responsibilities that are not so self-centered, you know what I'm saying, they're not based on what I want to do or how I feel all the time, you know what I'm saying, but it's really based on, like...
Well, it's back to representing a tradition,
yeah,
drawing on a tradition,
yeah,
and I can definitely respect that.
Like for this Triple P album, for instance, you know what I'm saying, like there was no profanity on there, when nobody talking about killing nobody's grandmother. Dilla was the only person talking about rims, but you know, I gave him that space to do that. But you know, in general, like, you know what I'm saying, like I just didn't want to create a record that just supported all those kind of do-rag stereotypes of black people, you know what I'm saying? Which in their own right, if that's what you do, that's a good look. But you know what I'm saying, there's not enough people that's not representing that. So I want to put a little paint where it ain't and do that. But that's not to say that when I'm in my crib, I ain't gonna have a do-rag on. Or that, you know what I'm saying, or when you meet me in person, I'm gonna be cussing and saying this and this and that, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, you know, just a responsibility of what you, of the cross that you had to bear when you're in a public situation,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Particularly media, because media is, y'all gonna see, man, if y'all don't know now, man, the media is a monster. They can help you build your empire, or they can destroy you. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah, well, so I mean, in the studio, you bring. I mean, how does, if you're writing a song, I mean, is it what kind of process is it different every time, or is it you just drawing on beats that you've made, or are you actually working with the vocalist first and then making the beats, or are you doing it all at once? I mean, It
really all depends. It really all depends. You know, it's like sometimes you have those moods where it just needs to be you in the studio, or you might meet somebody that you really like what they do, and y'all might try to collaborate. You know what I'm saying? But it all just basically starts with, not to be corny, but it starts with a vibe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you can't get along with a person, you know what I'm saying, there's probably a good chance that you probably not gonna make good music together, because music is intimate in that way. But, you know, it all depends, you know what I'm saying? For me, I've been lucky enough to have most of my projects or things that I've put out kind of revolve around me. So, you know, it usually just starts with me being in the studio. And
it's probably a good time to mention your collaborator Sadiq in Platinum Pied Pipers.
Yeah.
And he seems to be a very strong influence on that album. But, you know...
not really.
No? Okay. I mean, as an instrumentalist, you know, like, is that you're talking about creating a vibe in the studio?
Yeah.
That's where the vibe is happening, between those two sides of the spectrum there, the production side, the musician side.
Yes and no. For the sake of the group, Sadiq is more of the kind of like, he's the guy that does the show. We like to say, or I like to say, I produce the album, he produces the show. Because he plays so many different instruments, you know what I'm saying? He can dance, he look like Tupac, you know what I'm saying? On the visual side, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a good look, you know what I'm saying? Like, Sadiq, handle that, dog. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm a jerk in the studio, man. I'm a total jerk. Like, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from my own mouth. I'm a control freak. Like, yo, man, like, it's not gonna leave the studio, like, you know what I'm saying, unless that snare is right. It's not gonna leave the studio unless that sound that you hear on the left side of the speaker and the last verse just before the cymbal comes in is right. You know what I'm saying? I'm real anal about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, I always kind of like get into it, whoever I'm working with.
So you're saying you've scared everyone out of your studio now, or is it?
Man, I'm a jerk. I'm a jerk, man. And you should be, man, because this is your statement to the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, if people gonna judge you based on a track that they hear, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to be involved in that judgment process, you know what I'm saying? And it's the same for y'all. Don't take no back seat, you know what I'm saying, because you're running out of studio time, or that, you know what I'm saying, you want to get an argument with a person. Like, yo, man, make it be known. Like, if you think this is the best thing for the track and you can defend your judgment, you know what I'm saying, like, make it happen, man, like, for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would much rather be respected than be the friend of thousands of people.
But that would have to be the point of view of the producer rather than the collaborator. Or
Absolutely.
Because that's terrible if you got a collaborator who's...
Absolutely. If I'm in a situation where I'm working with people, you know what I'm saying, like, I take the back seat, you know what I'm saying, or the front, or whatever position needs to be played. But if you are producing an album and it's going to have your name on it, it's going to say produced by blah, 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 you know what I'm saying, you got to put your foot in it, man. Like, treat it like it's your last opportunity. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go hard, you know? Otherwise, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't, there's some things you just can't take the back seat to, you know what I'm saying? And this process of being a musician or a producer, that's not something that you can take a loss for. I know some of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, because y'all gonna be arguing about it by the end of this Red Bull Music Academy about your music.
Not too much, of course. The main thing's cooperation.
How about that?
But so, you know, was it like a natural process to take the Platinum Pied Pipers project, that's 4 Ps, to the stage, or was that something that actually, you know, took hard work? Was it complicated?
It was definitely part of the process from the beginning. You know, it started with just out of frustration. You know what I'm saying? Of seeing like hip hop guys, you know what I'm saying, or performers in general. And every 2 minutes of the show, they saying, "Say ho." You know what I'm saying? And these people paid, you know what I'm saying, to come see you perform, and the performer is asking the audience to perform for them. That's stupid. That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. So, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, as opposed to being one of those groups that, you know what I'm saying, where the MC just walks up and down the stage holding his nuts all night, you know what I'm saying, and there's like 90 of his homeboys on the stage, you know what I'm saying, represent, keep it real, son, you know what I'm saying. I was like, out of frustration, it started like, yo, man, we cannot be like that. And I remember saying to Sadiq, I would rather wear a blazer and a bow tie than look like that. And that's where it started, you know what I'm saying? That's where it started, you know what I'm saying? Where it's just like the performance value is just as relevant as an album these days, because otherwise, if you don't have a good show to balance the music, you know what I'm saying, how will people even know that it's good? You know what I'm saying? People are more likely to talk about what they've seen as opposed to what they've heard. And if you get in the show and you kill it, you know what I'm saying, like, it just makes, they kind of support one another. They have to, you know what I'm saying? The visuals have to support, or what you do and what you say has to support, you know, the music.
So how much, I mean, what role does improvisation play in your live show? I mean, is there a place for that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's a part. I mean, I definitely, you know what I'm saying, like, as much as I owe to, you know, being able to play the keyboards at heart, you know what I'm saying, like, I mean, I'm an MPC producer. That's what I do for the most part. And that's probably the part in our show that allows space for that. It's like we just have this freestyle thing, and I just make something up right there on the stage. You know what I'm saying? So there's room for it, definitely. It's definitely, it has to be, you know what I'm saying? It's just to keep it alive, I guess.
And how do you find, you know, taking this music, you know, you've created it in the studio, you've translated it onto the stage, and then you end up performing it around the world, you know, like you're performing around Europe.
It's wild, man.
I don't know, have you taken it to Japan yet? Or?
Not yet. We're waiting. We're going to do our tour next year in Japan and Australia.
So, I mean, the group is traveling a lot and turning up. Yeah, too much, right? Too much for what?
I mean, you know, I'm a producer, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a performer, really, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's part of it, but, you know what I'm saying, like, I've turned so much work down this year, you know what I'm saying, just, I mean, because I'm out on the road, you know what I'm saying? And that's tough for me, you know what I'm saying? In retrospect now, like, looking back, like, you know what I'm saying, I should be in the studio, like, you know what I'm saying, like, that's my voice. My voice is in the studio.
Well, I know that, you know, there's people around the world that do appreciate you getting out there and taking the show around the world. But how does it, I mean, I don't know, it's a weird question.
I don't mind doing it, but, you know what I'm saying, like, it is, you know what I'm saying, it is a process on your creativity, too, you know what I'm saying? Because you could be up there and you could be playing, you know, a song, you'd be thinking like, dang, man, I could take that chord progression and change it and turn it into a new thing, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm standing in front of 1,000 people. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, in your head, the creative process is always just running, and, you know, it's rampant. But, you know, you kind of have to pacify it, because you got 100 interviews to do.
Well, that's sort of what I was wondering, like, does the music change from country to country? Are you sort of, does that inspiration of a different place actually have a bearing on how the performance... I mean, it must do, of course it does, yeah. But, I mean, is that a strong flavour that comes from being on the road with the group all together? Does that bring the group closer together? And
it definitely brings the group closer together, you know what I'm saying? And if you can have a person that can ride out a tour with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, they can ride out anything with you, you know what I'm saying? And that's for the most part. I mean, I'm just so grateful, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sitting here, but... You know what I'm saying? There's hundreds of people that are responsible for me sitting here. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm nothing without them. You know what I'm saying? And probably vice versa. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, that's the other thing, man. You just got to have a good team. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, nobody can do this by themselves. And, like, you have to have a good squad, a dedicated group of people that, you know what I'm saying, are looking for the benefit of the team and not, you know, just so much personally. And I'm lucky. I'm lucky. You know, even just moving to New York, you know what I'm saying, I managed to find, like, a good team of people that, you know what I'm saying, care about the benefit of music as a whole, like Spinner, Bobito, Rich Medina. In a sense, I mean, these people have given me a job, you know what I'm saying? You know, they play the music, you know what I'm saying? And in general, you know what I'm saying, like, just reference to the DJ is just not, people don't give the DJ enough credit these days, man. You got DJs out here breaking records, man. You know what I'm saying? You were supposed to turn that off. You were supposed to turn that off.
Yeah, so, I mean, so you moved to New York.
Yeah.
So that was like right in the middle of the album process, was it?
Yeah.
So you had to start it, or you had to give it a break and come back to it, finish it in your new...
In my new home.
Your new home, yeah.
Yeah, I moved from Detroit to New York about 2 years ago. About two years ago, because I also learned from just every decision that I've done or made has been based off my experiences with my close personal confidants in the music business. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I learned that you can scream to the top of your lungs, but if nobody's there to listen, nobody will hear you. And that's kind of the point that I had reached in Detroit. Being born and raised there, everybody knew who I was, you know what I'm saying? And it was just kind of like, you know, looking to be recognized amongst people that felt like they know you, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you ain't Waajeed, you Robert O'Brien. You know what I mean? So the idea of moving to New York was like, yo, just start fresh, like, you know what I'm saying? Go to some place where, you know, there is no ceiling, you know what I'm saying? It's infinite. You can just keep going up, you know? And as tough as a decision as it was, I decided to move to New York.
And you're now quite close to that dangerous record industry, though.
Wow.
But you're invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the belly of the beast. But, you know, there's definitely good things to the belly of the beast, because it makes you, like, really realize internally, like, your purpose and why you were here and why you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do and who you're supposed to involve with all of that. So, you know, and it was tough, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I had a really nice loft in Detroit. It was oh man, it was so nice. 2 levels, man. It was nuts. It was fresh, you know what I'm saying? Because the cost of living there is fairly low.
So now you got the shoebox. Or...
Man, listen, man. I moved to Crown Heights in New York City. You know, I don't know if y'all heard of Buckshot Shorty, but he always talks about Crown Heights in his records. Man, listen. There was so many damn roaches in that apartment, man. I mean, it was so many roaches that they couldn't even be in the wall anymore, because, you know what I'm saying, they would be fighting for space in the wall. So they would just be walking, you'd be watching television, you know what I'm saying, it's 3 just come across the television. Why is a roach on the television? Tell me that. But it was crazy, man, like, you know what I'm saying, it was just...
So they're looking after the place now, or you're...
It was crazy. No, this is the first place that I moved into, and like just before I finished the Platinum Pied Pipers album, and those early credits that I used for the studio would be I used Joe's apartment, like in reference to this Roachfield apartment that I was in. But we went on tour, you know what I'm saying, and after coming back, I was just like, yo, man, I just can't live here, man. Like, this is not a good look. So I moved from the Roach Motel.
I'm glad to hear that.
Me too.
So this your new base of operations is in New York. And,
for the most part, yeah.
And you got some projects that you want to do in the future that you kind of been talking about a bit lately in the dreaded media. I just sort of want to know if you've got, what is your idea for the future, you know, for the next couple of years with your projects, and what do you want to achieve in that?
I just want to stay creative, man. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be able to do what I feel from my spirit. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be able to just make the type of music that just keeps going up, as opposed to like finding like this niche that you can make $1 million gazillion off of, and then just keep repeating the same process. I just want to just keep going up, man. I might be making, I don't know what I'm going to be making next year, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to just keep making progressive music that makes people think, and most of all makes people, like, that enlightens people, you know? That's what I want to do over the next couple of years. So there's a couple things coming up, both major. I'm more interested in the independent stuff, because that stuff has less boundaries, but yeah,
so these Waajeed's Jazz Cats.
Yeah, Waajeed and Jazz Cats.
What's the...
I thought it would be funny to name myself, because, you know, you always meet these old school cats. You know what I'm saying? They're real cool. They got a little cigarette hanging up their mouth, sunglasses. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it would be cool to name or start a group that kind of had that kind of energy to it. And I decided to start a group, or I'm starting a group now, called Waajeed and the Jazz Cats. And I got some things. I got a track on this thing. I brought a couple of these for y'all. This is a mixtape that I did for 555 Soul clothing company, and it's got, I think the second track is the track for Waajeed and the Jazz Cats. And I don't want to see these on eBay. This is a free mixtape that I did. You know what I'm saying? I would appreciate if you know, I know times is rough out here, but please do not put this on eBay, because I saw this thing on eBay for like $60. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it as much for 80. You know what I'm saying? It's a good look. I appreciate it, you know what I mean? Because it is some eclectic, rare stuff on here. But I only got about 10 of these joints, 10 or 15, so please don't put them on eBay.
It's better if you just hold on to it as a family heirloom and pass it on to the people who are going to appreciate it. Is that right? Yeah. Now, we could keep going, but I kind of get the feeling there's people want to ask some questions in the audience. Is that true? Or we could listen to music.
Music.
Time for music.
What y'all want to hear, man? I got a CD that got a couple. I knew you was gonna ask me that, man. All right, let's see. I'm not gonna play. I need to say this too, man. I hate playing my own music. I hate it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm such a control freak, and I think like, oh, that snare could have been up a little louder. You know what I'm saying? So it's painful for me to play my own music. When I DJ, I never play my own music, and that's why. So I'm gonna stop bitching. I'm gonna play the song. All right, so I don't know where it's at. Let's see. I think this is it. All right, that's enough of that. All right, I'm gonna go through this CD and see what else is in here. I'm not really sure what's in here, but we'll all find out together. Oh yeah. This is a remix. Where's that guy? Enrico's friend. Yeah. I did this remix for Archive. Yeah, Don't Move. What's the Archive Records? I need to find out when this is coming out because I want to get this.
I just asked him, but he's leaving now.
Okay. All right. It has. Please do. It has my girl Tiambe Lockhart on it, so it's a little out the box. Check it out. Yeah. Snip it. All right. I'll play a couple more tracks, and then if y'all got some questions, we do that. Anybody got any requests out there? All these all these bootleg MP3s floating around in my music. Y'all probably know my music better than me.
Got some tracks from the new time album?
Oh no, I'm not playing that stuff. Nah, it's you got internet thieves in the air, so they just might take the music out the air. So I'm gonna hold tight on that. Yeah, I got that. No, I don't have that. Wow, I asked for requests, and I don't even have what y'all requesting. How about that? Let me see what I got on here, though. What was you saying, a remix for what? What was somebody saying? Oh, the Roy Ayers. Yeah, I'd like to play that. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. This is a joint I did for Jean Grey. This Herbalizer remix. I'll play a little bit of it. Man, listen. I don't know when that record is coming out. I don't know. I know it's a Ninja Tune release, so it should be soon. Sooner the better, man. Let's see what else is there. I want to find this Roy. I did a remix for Roy Ayers, and I really had fun doing it, man. So there it is right there. All right, this is I think it's out this month on BBE. The name of the track is called Funk in the Hole. Check it out. All right, so I'm gonna play the what is it? The Sammy Deluxe joint. I worked with these like I think it was about 2003. I worked with some cats from Hamburg, Germany. I didn't even know hip hop was going down in Germany. I had no clue. And these dudes heard a beat CD of mine, and it was like, "Yo, we want to work with you." I was like, word? Okay. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know that these dudes was like superstars. I had no clue. They showed up at my loft, And we got down, I think we did about 6 tracks. And they rhymed in German the whole time. And I didn't understand nothing they were saying, but I knew what they were saying was fly, because, you know what I'm saying, it's just the patterns, you know what I'm saying, you can hear the patterns. And it's probably one of the best work relationships I got, or I had, and I still kick it with those dudes, you know what I'm saying. So I play some of that stuff. And it's in German. So you might not understand what they're saying, but neither did I. Let me find it. Wait. This one. This was a single that they put out. I think it was the third single. Was it the third single? All right, I ain't gonna beat you on the head.
Well, bro, well, just in your travels, I mean, you've obviously checked out some music scenes from around the world. Is there anything happening, you know, now that you really want to mention that you're excited by in other parts of the world, something that influences you, or something that's worth checking out?
I'm really excited about the grime scene in the UK, man. I'm really excited about it, you know what I'm saying? It's like, to some degree, I kind of like relate it to hip-hop, just what it's being created out of and what it's being created for, you know what I'm saying? And I really, you know what I'm saying, I hope that the people that are involved in the grime scene in the UK, like, really do something relevant with it, like use it as a way to make change, you know what I'm saying? And I just kind of ride the coattail, and to some degree do what hip-hop has kind of done, you know what I'm saying, where it's just like, where you have this voice and ain't nobody saying shit, you know what I'm saying? So I hope that, I'm really into what they're doing over. I'm into the UK scene, period, you know what I'm saying, with the broken and all that, like, you know what I'm saying, like, they smashing right now, in my opinion. And
so just originality and energy.
man, do you, man, like, you know what I'm saying, that's if you don't leave with nothing else I said today, you know what I'm saying, do you know what I'm saying, like your experience and what you've been taught by your parents, the houses that you've lived in, the neighborhoods that you lived in, what your religion is, what your understanding of everything is so relevant, you know what I'm saying, like your experience. Don't do somebody else, you know what I'm saying, don't follow somebody else's path, don't listen to the same influences that somebody else has had and try to make them relevant to your experience. Do you. And I think that all the people that we respect and that we enjoy and that we passionately follow were adamant about doing that. Like, they did them. Like, when Primo came out, when nobody doing what he was doing. When Prince came out, when nobody doing what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? When Kraftwerk came out, when nobody doing what they was doing. Derek May, et cetera, and so forth, and you could just go on and on. So I just think that it's really relevant that people do not be ashamed of their experiences and just, you know what I'm saying, use that as your strength. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what it is. And that's my speech for today. All right, so we got any questions? So you know what I'm saying? What's up?
Hey, Waajeed, what's up?
Damn, how you get that mic? Where'd that mic come from? Okay.
I got one.
The mic came out.
I'm sorry, I'm a bit sour-throated because I was...
Screaming last night?
Yeah.
That's a good look.
Anyway, I have a comment, not really a question. I'd like you just to listen, and if you want to say something after, feel free, of course. I'm not the host. But anyway, there's something really interesting about what you say and what your point is about. Like, I really enjoyed listening to you say how many different things you enjoy and how much you recognize the scene in Detroit as a whole and don't segment that and always on the lookout for new shit around the world. I just wish like other producers or other artists could see it like that. And of course, like we all, or most of us heard you last night just play stuff that was completely unexpected. And that's so fresh, you know. And of course, I really don't know why it took so much time for people to try and join the gap between, for instance, like Detroit house or techno with hip hop. But like for so long, I've listened to Theo Parrish records or your own, and I feel like, okay, perhaps you don't quantize so much, or on the second and third beat, you might not have the kick on top of the snare, but the flow, you know, and the arrangement, sometimes it's just more or less the same message. And I guess the only guys like going across, like really doing it in a way that's completely assumed are perhaps people in like Amsterdam, like Kid Sublime and those cats, like really joining the two universes in one.
Yeah.
And I just wish there were people that were not so existentialist about what they're doing, so it could generate a lot more dynamic between both universes.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, first time I heard your interview on Benji's show, and you said like listening to It Is What It Is while driving a car was like the best experience to have in Detroit at night. And I was like, man, this guy's got it, because you're not restricted, and that's really very fresh, and I respect that, right?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I think the biggest part of this job, well, I won't call it a job, the biggest part of what I do is I don't think enough guys out here really realize that, you know, if I make all this music and the people don't like it, nobody's gonna give a fuck anyway. You know what I'm saying? So our biggest jobs, and I'm speaking about us because, you know what I'm saying, like, y'all just as relevant as I am, you know what I'm saying? Our job is to just reflect the voice of the people, you know what I'm saying? Like, more than, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, they treat stars like stars are above us, but really, you know what I'm saying, like, our job is to make music for people, you know what I'm saying? And with that, like, that responsibility, like, you know what I'm saying, you got to shake every hand, you got to kiss every baby, you got to sign every autograph, you know what I'm saying? You got to go out here and get it and make it work. I mean, it's hands-on. It's not the type of thing where Andy Warhol is back there. You know what I'm saying? You got to speak to a guy to speak to Andy, and then Andy will speak to the guy, and then he'll speak to you. You know what I'm saying? It's not Andy Warhol. You know what I'm saying? This is like hand-to-hand, like real shit here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just positive. I'm gonna see a lot of y'all faces. You know what I'm saying? In these magazines, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm excited about that, man. I'm excited about y'all taking this great experience, you know what I'm saying, and making it work for y'all. Feet up. Yeah, you went through a lot of problems with that mic. You better say something fresh.
No, it's just a stupid technical question, but you don't solely use the MPC, yeah? You just kind of have MIDI keyboards linked to it or something?
I hate MIDI, man.
Sorry about that.
No, it's no disrespect to you, but I don't deal with MIDI, man. I've been told by so many of my friends about MIDI, and you can play this from in control. No. I don't want to read a book. I just want to jump in. You know what I'm saying? So, no, that's not. That's probably pretty messed up. But yo, I don't know much about MIDI, so I just kind of like, my dad always had this saying when I was a kid, and it's fake it till you make it. And that's pretty much what I do. So if I can get a sound from here that's on the tape, or you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying, it's just gumbo, like whatever I can get, you know what I'm saying. I just recently, or over the last year, I've been dabbling in Reason a lot, and Reason is really a good tool for a person on the move. Like if you're on a plane, you know what I'm saying, and you want to like knock out some rough ideas or something, like Reason is a really good thing for that. So I don't know, have y'all been using Reason here? Yeah, Reason is really fresh, you know what I'm saying, and maybe tonight in some of the studios I can give y'all some tips on how to get them drums kind of kind of nasty on that. But yeah, it's a reason is a good thing, man. But in general, like, I just use whatever I can. Whatever's in the studio, that's what I use. Any more questions?
Do you engineer your own stuff?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah?
Yes, and I say unfortunately because there's some cats that can really do it. Like this dude, that's his job, that's what he does, you know what I'm saying? But out of necessity and just turn around, I find myself engineering stuff. But with that, you know what I'm saying, like having to take on that responsibility, it definitely helps me to like deal with sound differently. So, and even if I am not engineering or something like that, I always got something to say anyway, like turn that up a little bit, or, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's probably my pet peeve. I'm really funny about how things come out and, you know, ultimately how the public views them because, you know, if you're not staying in the room, you know what I'm saying, people won't judge you off your music and what it sounds like. So that's something definitely to behold and take serious. But no, I mean, I engineer, but not because I want to most of the time.
So you record all those lyrics?
Yes. Yo, on 50 Ways, right, the track, I don't know if y'all heard that on the PPP album, this dude named Waajeed Devon was the first person to record the vocals. And we were in this hotel in D.C. that had this huge mouse in it, I remember. And that's part of where the Platinum Pied Pipers came from, this mouse. We were making jokes about this mouse in this 5-star hotel. But anyway, we was in this hotel recording these vocals on our inbox. By the way, none of that album was recorded in the studio, really. We recorded that album from the inbox, like in people's apartments, because the budget didn't allow. But we were recording, and this dude did 152 takes of this song. And it wasn't like he wrote the lyrics. Yeah, Raheem, I'm putting you out there, B. He just wasn't like he recorded the lyrics, you know what I'm saying? And basically the first verse is pretty much the same as the second verse, but he recorded 150 some odd takes, you know what I'm saying? And that's what made me turn off from engineering that day, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I do record my own, all those vocals, and yeah, it's a pain in the butt. Any other questions?
Anybody else? Oh, yes.
Hey.
Hey.
I had a question. When you work with singers, like where do you pick them up? Where do they fall from the sky, or just people you know who know people, or where do they come from in general in the real world?
I mean, part of my job when I was with Slum was just not getting the girls, but getting the demo tapes too. And funny enough, like a lot of the people that I'm in contact with now is people, it was demo tapes I got years ago. You know what I'm saying? People who nobody deemed important enough to give them a record deal or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? I assembled all these people who I thought are more talented than a lot of people in the industry now. You know what I'm saying? And just compiled those people and put them on the Platinum Pied Pipers project. So always listen to demo tapes. Always, you know what I'm saying? Whoever gives you a tape, when, you know what I'm saying, like if you get your first record out, or whenever, if y'all haven't already had your first records out, and people give you tapes, listen to them. Because it's always a diamond in the rough, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might get 20 whack ones, because now I've got some terrible ones, man. I've got some really bad tapes on CDs, but, you know, out of that 1 out of 20, man, it might be golden. And, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Quite well, thanks.
Cool.
So I'll be giving you my CD later.
All right, I'll take that. Yo, before I leave, man, it's one record that I need to play that, and I got a story behind it, like I got a story behind everything. My family threw a party in my backyard as a kid, and they wouldn't let the kids come out. But we was good enough to, you know what I'm saying, like serve drinks to all the people that came by the side door. what I'm saying? They kept us in the house, and they partied in the backyard. And I remember looking outside of the backyard, and I hearing this record and not knowing what the hell it was. Like, what were these people thinking about? What were they smoking when they made this record? Like, for real, like, what was they on? And the reason why I really remember this record and the reason why it is so relevant to me is because I remember seeing my dad dancing, and he can't dance at all. And he was trying to dance, and he was dancing on the patio, and he slipped and fell. And as funny as this was, the record was so intense, nobody even cared. The record was so banging. So I want to play this for y'all. If y'all haven't heard it, you're going to hear it today. It's called,
Let it be a blind test.
Huh?
Let it be a blind test.
Okay, all right. That sounds good to me. What's the name of the record? That's the name of the record. This is a great record, man. What was they thinking about? This is nuts, man. This is nuts. All right, I'm going to start it, and then I'm going to turn it down so I can let y'all get the hell out of here because I've been talking for hours. Thank y'all, man. I appreciate it, man. For real.